News Now from Fox, everybody, taking another live look over the White House in our nation's capital. And, you know, we've been doing a lot of winter weather coverage here on News Now from Fox, so we still wanted to keep you updated with all of the political news that is happening around the country. If you do remember, over the weekend, former President Donald Trump was acquitted for the second time in his second impeachment trial. So I wanted to really bring you up to speed on the details from this weekend. And in order to do that, I am joined by Mr. Eddie Fernandez. He joins us live from Orlando. He is a political analyst and here to break down everything you may have missed from this weekend. Eddie, how are you? Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
It's my pleasure to be with you. And, you know, we're here in Florida enjoying beautiful, sunny, 70-degree weather.
I know. We felt so bad talking to our reporters across the country. But like I said, we've done a lot of winter weather coverage, but I really want to update our viewers on everything. This impeachment trial finished off over a weekend, so a lot of people may not have realized what exactly happened. So can you kind of take us through the events on the Senate floor from Saturday and Sunday?
Yes, absolutely. Be happy to. What we saw this weekend, I think, was nothing out of the ordinary from what was expected. We expected Donald Trump to be acquitted. What we did see that was somewhat extraordinary was a lot of the Republicans expressing different views for why they were voting for acquittal, both in interviews and both on the floor. We heard everything from due process to jurisdiction. We heard that he did nothing wrong. We heard a mixture of those and other reasoning for the acquittal vote. So from that perspective, we certainly are seeing Republicans taking different approaches, even if they're reaching the same conclusion.
Eddie, you know, the Republicans that voted to acquit him, including Mitch McConnell, they have been defending their decision ever since it was made over the weekend. So what is really their defense? What are they saying?
Well, I think that the defense is in the substance of the reasoning for their vote. I think one of the things, this has been described as the most partisan acquittal vote in the United States history. And one of the things that I think is important to the American people, and I think essential for Republicans, is that they justify and explain the acquittal vote and explain their reasoning. And you mentioned Mitch McConnell. I think that's a perfect example of somebody that had reasoning for voting in this particular way. Substantive, real reasons to vote for an acquittal, not a party line vote, even if it broke down that way. I think a lot of Democrats, on the other hand, are not being asked those difficult questions.
And, you know, Eddie, former President Trump, he kept a very low profile during the impeachment. And then yesterday, he actually drove past supporters in Florida near Mar A Largo. And, you know, do you think that he's trying to reassert himself after his second impeachment trial, almost taking this as some sort of win?
Well, I think for all former presidents, I think it's important to make sure they remain in the public light. I think Donald Trump is certainly an exception among former presidents of our lifetime. He is somebody who was in the public light prior to the presidency, and we expect will be after. I did think it was interesting that he laid low throughout the trial and after the swearing in of Mr. Biden. So from that perspective, I think this was very intentional. I think he knew he would be acquitted. We saw him playing golf and some other activities before, but now he is starting to make public appearances. I don't think there's any coincidences. Let's say it that way. I think this was planned.
And, you know, speaking of Florida, there is word that Ivanka Trump wants to run for a Florida Senate seat. How do you think the acquittal and everything that has happened in the past couple of months will affect the 2022 midterm election cycle, specifically here in Florida?
Yeah, we as Floridians, we keep hearing about this, and I think there's a lot of palace intrigue. There's a lot of palace intrigue about Ivanka Trump, about Donald Trump, about the sons, what's going to happen. And I think from that perspective, I think, look, Ivanka played a critical role in the White House. We've seen some calls for investigation of her in recent days. We all know that it could be just another witch hunt. But from that perspective, it seems like palace intrigue to me. Senator Rubio's done a great job for the state of Florida. He's well liked among Republicans and non-party affiliated voters. So I think it would be an uphill battle for her, particularly with his service over his tenure thus far.
And Eddie, the Florida session is coming up on us in March. What do you think the legislation will be focusing in this upcoming session?
Well, I think there's no question that in Florida, it's going to be no different than the remainder of the United States. COVID is going to be a priority. We've seen the speaker, the governor, make a lot of initiatives known and a lot of legislation proposed in the House. So one of the things that I've been seeing that I think is interesting is protecting particular seniors, but all Floridians from scams related to the pandemic. Everybody's scared. Everybody's nervous about about this pandemic, and I think that's an important thing. Again, putting seniors first. Small businesses and large businesses truly need to be protected from liability related to COVID. As a business attorney, I can tell you that I have my clients worrying about this on a regular basis. Florida is doing something about it. We're also seeing privacy and also social media, the First Amendment being put first and foremost. We're seeing proposals for citizens being able to actually have causes of action against big tech. Same thing with the Attorney General of Florida. So these are movements that I think reflect the Florida position that more speech is better speech, that speech should not be restricted. These forums are truly the public square today. I think protecting that is vital. We're also seeing the speaker making a lot of moves in regards to K through 5 literacy. There's initiatives for the procurement of books for K through 5 students across the state of Florida. So nobody is being forgotten. There's a lot going on. Florida, as usual, will be a very busy legislative session.
Yeah, Eddie, that's funny you mentioned the privacy. I don't know if you caught Governor Ron DeSantis yesterday introducing a bill on privacy laws related to big tech. What exactly did he say?
Yeah, and it is very interesting. With all of this, it's all about making sure that we empower Floridians to take back their privacy, take back their information. When Floridians and people across the world log into the social media, the information is packaged and that is sold. It is our information that is being sold. And I think the governor did a good job of explaining this initiative and this legislation and why it's important to him and why it's important that Floridians' information be protected. In some ways, it's the currency of the 21st century. And I think Governor DeSantis, the speaker, and the legislature are looking at this because they recognize the importance of it.
Absolutely. Well, Eddie Fernandez, thank you so much for joining us here on News Now from Fox with this insight. We appreciate you being a guest on our show.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Perfect. Thank you. Well, you have a great rest of your day, Eddie, taking another live look over the White House in our nation's capital. Like we said, lots of news to follow related to D.C., the insurrection following the second acquittal of former President Donald Trump.